Hello and welcome back. So there's a lot of misunderstanding about Git, and I just wanted to make a quick video to clear things up. So with Git, you can actually track any folder on your computer. You don't have to actually create the repository and create a folder and then move, you don't have to start tracking a folder and then move everything into it. You can actually just tell Git to track anything where it is. And the nice thing about that is that you don't have to change any sort of structures. You don't have to duplicate your project. And then you can still use whatever you're already using to compile your source code. So like if you're using Visual Studio, if you've got, like wherever your project is, you can track it in place and then just use Git to sync it up to a remote server. So I've got this dummy project called Mega Project right here. And what I'm going to do is first I'll create a repository on GitHub. So I'm going to open a new tab and type GitHub. I'm going to go to my profile, click on repositories, and then click on new. And I'll just call this demo mega project 2. I already did this once when I was planning the video. So you can call it whatever you want. And then I'm going to make it public for now. You can choose private if you want to. And I'm not going to make a README. It's optional. So I'm just going to click create repository. And now it's got a series of steps that it wants us to go through. And initially, we created the project here on GitHub, but there's nothing linking it to Mega Project here on your machine. So to do that, the first thing I want to do is open up the Git shell. And this is it's a pretty easy process once you understand it. Git shell installs on your computer if you install the GitHub app. So just go ahead and install that if you don't have it. So now that I have this, I'm going to jump back over to my tutorial here. And what it says to do is, first you need to make sure you're in the folder that you want the repository to be in. So I'm in documents/GitHub. That's not where my code is right now, so I want to get to the code. So that's in C/megaproject. And to get there, I'm going to type cd, that stands for change directory. And I'm just going to move my target directory to Mega Project. Now that I'm there, I want to initialize the GitHub repository. And so I'll initialize it here on my computer, and then I'll link it to what exists online. So for that, I'm going to type git init, and that just stands for git initialize. And so it says initialized empty Git repository. So that's good. Now if I do git status, you can see we've got program, index, and readme. And they're all red because they're not being tracked at the moment. And it even says untracked files. So if I go back to my folder, you can see we've got a readme, you've got index.html, and a folder. If I click into the folder, we've got test.php and css/styles.css. Now, what I can do is I want to stage these for commit. So basically, GitHub is only going to synchronize things that we tell it to. And so maybe I don't want everything synchronized, or maybe I just want one folder synchronized. So for that, I'm going to use git add. Now here we could use git add star to sync everything, or we can specifically tell it what we want. So I'm going to type P and then hit the tab key. And so it filled out the word program. So I'm going to sync the whole program folder. Now if I hit enter, it looks like it worked. It says we've got +2, so that means there were some changes. Now I'm going to do git status, and all we added was the program folder. Git status, enter. There we go. So now within the program folder, we have another folder, css/styles.css, and then we also have test.php. So you'll notice that it went into one folder, and then it went into the next folder, and then it grabbed the file. Git doesn't track folders specifically. If you have an empty folder, it won't be synced, but it will track all the files you give it, and it does go recursively. So now we also want index and readme, so I'm just going to do git add star. Git status, and so now we've got 4 files ready to be synchronized. We haven't actually saved them to the server yet, and we still don't have any connection between where we are here and the repository we created on the server. So we want these to go somewhere online, and we need to actually like create a connection between this and what we created on GitHub. So I'm going to type git remote add origin. So origin is it's going to be the remote repository. That's where we're going to push our code up to, and then later it's where we're going to pull our code down from. And we're just saying we want to add a link to an origin. Now the origin is simply going to be the URL of our repository. So I'm just going to copy that. And you can use either one. You could use this whole thing, or you can just use HTTPS. So I'll just copy that, paste it, and enter. And we can't tell if it worked. I think we can verify with git remote -v. And yep, we are verified. We definitely have a thing to push to and a thing to pull from. So the next thing I want to do is create a commit. And I guess I actually skipped that step. The order shouldn't matter. So I'm just going to say git commit, and then we'll give it a message. We're going to call it commit1. You can name it whatever you want. Usually it's a good idea to be pretty specific with these. So actually I guess I'll say committing previously made files. Alright, so everything that was previously staged is now part of the commit. And so basically we took everything, we compressed it into one thing, and now when we say git push, we're going to push it all up to the repository. So now I'm going to say git push. Fatal. The current branch master has no upstream branch. To push the current branch, set the remote as upstream. Oh, and that must be what this -u actually does. Git push upstream origin master. Warning, permanently added upstream branch, yada yada yada. Okay, so it looks like it worked. And now to verify that, we can go to our repository. Demo, go back. Alright, so now you can see we've got program, index, readme. Everything is already on the server. It happened pretty much instantaneously. And that's it. So now anytime we want to clone this, like maybe if this got deleted, I could simply go to the repository and clone or download. We've got the link right there. And then anytime we make changes, so let's say I go back to my mega project and add a new file. We'll call this test.txt. Now we can do git status. We can see that it changed. We'll go ahead and add that with git add star and git push. Oh, and I actually forgot to create a commit. So typically you want to do git add star, git commit, message, give it a message, and then git push. And so now if I jump back over here, within program we also have test.txt. So I hope that was useful. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.